All right. If we could get everyone to take their seats, we will call to order the public hearing relative to a $5 million capital appropriation and bond authorization for improvements at Municipal Stadium, as submitted by Michael LeBlanc, Director of Finance. Anyone who wishes to address the board on this issue, the stadium bonding, please sign up with the city sheriff. Please state your name and address for the record. There is a 5-minute limit, and I will give you a 1-minute heads up. Mr. Sheriff, if you'd call the first speaker.
First speaker tonight from 11 Steuben Street, Lawrence V. DePillo.
Good evening. I'm here to address this $5 million bond proposal. And also, it seems that you also have item number 11, which is $3,965, $3,965,791 for the building. Gee, it's very, let's see, a $5 million bond. There was going to be $1 million spent on other items like the fields. And it just so happens that the contract that's being issued tonight is for $4 million. Isn't that just coincidental? And who's doing this? Waterbury Development Construction, WDC, Waterbury Development Corporation. And what did they say? In response to the request for proposals for design and build services for a new locker room and restroom facility at Municipal Stadium, you received 3 proposals. And it's very nice that they listed J.A. La Rosa Building and Network Designs and Construction. Unfortunately, they said, well, they met with all of them and they just happened to pick the best of the 3, which just happened to be $4 million. Like I said, very coincidentally, that happened to be that price. But they didn't bother saying what the price range was. You don't want to give us an exact price? Well, then why don't you say that the prices that were quoted was from a low of X to a high of Y, and that you negotiated with whatever the company was you selected here, and that you negotiated such and such a price. No information regarding dollars, no information as to why one was selected over the other. And when I was on this board with Alderman Cicchetti, we provided to this board, and I believe the mayor, a number of facilities that other municipalities use in New York, in New Jersey, in Massachusetts, which are pre-engineered facilities. Designing a locker room and bathroom facility is not designing a Taj Mahal. As a matter of fact, there's a number of companies out there that provide precast facilities, which would completely meet all the requirements for Waterbury, and they were under $1 million. But I guess that's some other town, some other taxpayers, not Waterbury, and not the Waterbury taxpayers. And I'm sure what you're going to hear tonight is, well, let's not worry about this because one of our representatives, before he leaves office, maybe, is going to go up there and get $2 million. So it's not really your money. It's funny money. It's the state's money. And somehow we're going to be reimbursed, so it doesn't matter if we're going to spend $4 million on a building that should cost less than $1 million. And it doesn't matter that there's an extra $1 million in there just to throw around for the stadium that nobody has documented where that's going to go. And I'm sure the finance director is going to tell you, oh, don't worry about it. $5 million is the top number. And we'll come on less than that. Yeah, sort of like the building at $3,965 and $3,965. It will come in under the $5 million, probably $4,995. It's the way we do business here in Waterbury, and it's tiring to the taxpayers, especially when Mr. Cicchetti and I sat on his board and provided you with those documents. Less than $1 million for a full facility, pre-engineered, but not Waterbury, nope. And I'll tell you what, even the newspaper couldn't get through this proposal because what they said was that they just came across a construction of bathrooms and other facilities, locker room facilities, that was done in another state, in another town, South Bend, Indiana. And let's see, their freestanding building ran $273 per square foot.
1 minute, Mr. DePillo.
And what is Waterbury proposing? $471 a square foot, almost twice the price. But like I said, it doesn't matter to this administration, it doesn't matter to the Democrats on this board who are going to just push this through, because it's funny money. That's all it is. It's not real money. It's not the mayor's money. It's not the board president's money or the alderman's money. It's the taxpayers' money. And just like happened with Rose Hill, $1 million disappeared. But don't worry, that $1 million, it's not what the city had to pay. It's state money. Funny money. Funny money for a funny proposal.
Next speaker for 112 Concord Street, Thomas Pelletier.
Thomas Pelletier, 112 Concord Street. I would ask for this board to pass item number 11. I have a totally different view, and from what I've heard from the public is asking us on a continuous basis to finish the stadium. They don't understand what's been taking us so long to get it done. And, you know, I mean, this mayor came in, you know, he's called it a debacle. It was left to him from former Mayor Giorgiera. It was laid on his lap, like everything else in the city of Waterbury at the time. And he formed a bipartisan board of different people on this board, the park department, our board chairman, and the park board, to come together and figure something out, the best cost savings to get this project done. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for this mayor going up to Hartford, working on a bipartisan effort on both sides of the aisle to get things going in this city, and yes, he has worked with Representative Berger, and, you know, to come up here and basically land-based Representative Berger, quite frankly, if the things in downtown Waterbury wouldn't be where they are today if it had been from the hard work, working with the mayor, working with Representative Berger, State Senator Hartley, and others, we'd be sitting here complaining about the same items we've heard for decades. To come up here tonight and say that we should have a prefabbed facility. If you take a look at our schools, we have portable buildings in our schools. The key word was portable, temporary. We've been using some of these portable buildings for years. And, you know, why are we going to make a prefabbed facility that, who knows, 40, 50 years down the line, we're going to be right back here again, and who knows what the state is going to be like fiscally down the road. If we're going to do this, we should do it right. Our kids have suffered a lot waiting for these locker rooms, waiting for these bathrooms, waiting for the sod to get redone on the fields. You know, I just think that we need to get this done now. We have so many good things happening in this city. I think that getting this done would bring some sort of legitimacy to the stadium and bringing it back to the stadium that people from years and years ago talked about. I can't tell you how many people drive around this city and come up to me as a park commissioner and say, why is this taking so long? You know, we have a lot of good things happening at that stadium. The Mickey Mantle tournament that this mayor and Ray Brown and others brought back here to the city of Waterbury. And these people come from all over the country, and they still want to stay here because why? They're proud of how the tournament is run. And, you know, they see the success that's going on in the city of Waterbury. We have so many tournaments that go on there. We've had concerts there, you know, and to be compared to New York, New Jersey, all these other places, you know, this is Waterbury. And we care about Waterbury. That's why we're all here tonight. And to say that, you know, here we go again with WDC. Well, WDC handles all of our projects that go on in this city.
1 minute, Mr. Pelletier.
And bidding, yes, they took 3 bidders, but that's how it's done. That's how everybody else does it, puts things out to bid. So I would ask this board to pass this. Let's not delay, and let's get it done so that we could see what the stadium used to be and what it's going to be. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, that's the last speaker tonight.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the public hearing and call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a silent prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Brunelli.
Here.
Alderwoman Cavallo.
Here.
Alderwoman Cotto. Alderman DiGiovincarlo.
Here.
Alderman Dorso.
Here.
Alderman Giacomi.
Here.
Alderman Kula.
Here.
Alderman Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Matthews. Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Here.
Alderman Napoli.
Here.
Alderman Nugent.
Present.
Alderman Sherman.
Here.
Alderman Pernaruski.
Here.
12 here, 2 absent. 12 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. And just for the record, Alderman Matthews has indicated he had a previous engagement this evening and wouldn't be able to make it, and Alderman Cotto has been in touch with me to say that she was tied up at work and did not think she would be able to make it this evening. With that, we'll go to we have the presentation, which is the proposed municipal stadium locker room and restroom facility. So, Mr. Balanis, if you want to start us off.
Good evening. My name is Santiago Bolanos. I'm with the Waterbury Development Corporation. I'm a civil engineer, project manager, and I'm going to do a brief presentation on the locker room at the municipal stadium. As you might be aware, the municipal stadium it's in need of a locker room restroom facility for quite some time. For that reason, the city requested WDC to work diligently to provide a solution to the needs of its patrons in a fast and effective manner. In this presentation, I want to discuss the delivery methodology for the project, the proposed building location, the required spaces and its features, and lastly, allow for questions you may have. And with the support of J. Rosa Construction and the architect, John Wojcik, we'll be able to do that. So this project is meant to be a design-build project in which there's one contract. The general contractor, in this case, J. Rosa Construction, will be responsible to build the facility specified in the RFP for a guaranteed maximum price. The general contractor retains the architect, Wojcik Architects, who will design the facility to meet the requirements for the city, so the general contractor can build it in a more efficient and timely manner. In a collaborative effort, the city finance director, the city's consultant, WDC, and the general contractor with the architect met several times to evaluate and agree on making minor changes, or what we call value engineering, in order to provide the best return of investment to the city. This was done during the last few weeks. This results in savings of approximately $70,000 in the proposed construction cost, and that does not include potential savings on the life of the building due to changes in operations of the mechanical equipment. So a few facts. Through the RFP process, a company was selected, J.A. Rosa Construction. The negotiated construction cost is $3,776,915 plus some allowances and owner control contingency funding. The footprint of the building is 8,850 square feet, which brings the price per square foot to $443, which is different to what Mr. DePillo said it would be. It's less. The timeline of the project is from November 2018 to July 2019. The proposed site plan, as you see in this photograph, the building will be oriented parallel with Watertown Avenue, to the north of the concession stand. One of the value engineering changes as it relates to the site plan was the shifting of the building to avoid relocating a major storm drain, which sits to the north of the proposed building location. Also, the construction includes bituminous sidewalks tying to the existing sidewalks, landscaping, drainage, utilities, an access control system, mechanical equipment, plumbing, etc., for a fully functioning facility that will better suit the stadium. The building includes the following ADA-compliant spaces for both visitors and home teams. The following square footages is approximate for each side. Locker rooms and chalk duct rooms, trainer room, team showers and toilets and vestibule for a square footage of approximately 1,700 square feet per side. In addition to that, there will be single toilet and family toilet rooms to be provided. The spectator restrooms were sized based on a 1,500 minimum spectator occupancy. A room for Parks Department personnel is proposed, with an apparel sales room featuring an overhead coil-type door. And I'll show you those in next slides. And finally, a Hall of Fame, which runs through the center of the building. This rendering from the football field side features a wood frame, concrete masonry unit walls, spread footing foundations, asphalt shingle roofing, LED lighting, roof-mounted HVAC units, a minimum of 3, and roof-mounted exhaust fans. This rendering, it's a view from Watertown Side Avenue. You can see in the middle, there's the Hall of Fame. It will offer a space where wall-mounted plaques and trophies can be displayed in an air-conditioned environment. Also, note windows on the upper end of the walls for lighting cost savings, which were also specified. These renderings, lastly, let me first talk about the intent. The intent of this facility is not just to fulfill the budgetary needs of the city through the programming and conceptual phases, but it wants to be a durable place It wants to be focused on quality. A space meant to last and serve its users while blending into the campus. So on the left, you'll see the locker rooms. On the right, the Hall of Fame. And at the bottom, the woman spectator toilet room. At this time, I'd like to hear any questions you may have.
Can you just tell us a little bit about how you went through analyzed the 3 bids and arrived at selecting
Sure.
the bidder that you did?
Sure. The city issued an RFP based on technical specifications where we received several bids, which, by the way, J.A. Rosa Construction came at the lowest. After that process of evaluating the 3 bids, as a committee, we met to decide which was the best option based on the location, the cost, and the desired finishes and features of the site. So after the city made a decision on the selected proposal, we sat down and we negotiated the price to get the best value to the city. So it wasn't a deliberate process in which we just picked any of the 3 bidders. We worked hard to come up to a price that was comfortable with each member of the selection committee. That's how we arrived to selecting J.A. Rosa.
And because it was an RFP process versus a bid process, until the contract is finally either signed or we decide not to go forward with the project, you don't release the information on the other bids because you may end up going back to deal with them. Is that a fair assessment of where we stand as far as the bidding process right now? And that may be something more for...
I could not speak to that. I don't have the knowledge on the procedural process.
Would you be able to address that, Linda?
Can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, I said at this point, because these were RFPs, until the whole contract is signed or we decide not to go forward with the project, you don't release any of the particulars of any of the bids publicly. That's the
correct.
process, right?
Until
That's
you
in
have
fact what state law says it should be.
Yes, until we have a signed contract. And I'm not sure, there were a number of us on the committee, including Mike LeBlanc, who's also here, and I'm not sure that we've disclosed first, second, third, what have you, in order of bid. So I'm not sure as to that statement, as to either the accuracy or even if that's disclosable. But typically, the director of purchasing keeps the pricing separate and looks at the proposal. And the selection committee looks at the proposals and looks at what the needs are and makes a selection without consideration of pricing. And then pricing is incorporated into it to determine what is the next step on negotiation of the selected vendor or contractor. In this case, if I'm not mistaken, I believe 2 came up on the top 2, and there may have been negotiations with more than 1 initially, which is allowed under our ordinance to allow us to negotiate with the top 2.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Alderman Sherman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any particular reason why we did not look at a pre-engineered facility?
The programming efforts done prior to when the project was assigned to WDC specified a built facility on site, not a pre-manufactured one. So I
Okay.
cannot speak to what happened prior to that, but I can give you my personal professional experience on that.
And then you can come back to it. But also, too, there was a committee made up of...
Did you just talk right?
Sure, I'm sorry, Linda Whibby. There was a committee that was made up of the president of the Board of Aldermen, as well as members of the Public Works Department and several others, and maybe Mike can speak to that more. And they actually worked with Kemp, a consultant, to come up with a design specification to put in the RFP. So that was made with public input, as well as several meetings to discuss what was the vision of the building. So the RFP was based upon that committee work and that committee's recommendations.
Understood. I have a really tough time with the $466 per square foot for this construction. What average cost that I see for commercial construction is under $200 per square foot. Can someone please explain to me why the cost for this facility is so much more?
So typically, a locker room facility has a lot more plumbing involved per square foot. So when you look at the type of facility, you have a lot of objects and things going into the place. You know, you have toilets, you have lavatories, all the plumbing, the electrical, the mechanical equipment is packed pretty tight into this building. So it's not comparable to another type of commercial space where you have maybe offices or warehouse type space. It's a different cost per square footage typically.
Okay. That still seems extremely high to be almost twice as much as the norm for commercial construction, in my opinion. I've talked to my employer who frequently builds buildings for auto dealership facilities, and we're well under $200 a square foot. I understand it's a much different type of facility, but I'll move on from that. The savings you mentioned due to the design build project, would this also apply to a pre-engineered facility if we went that route?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as it relates to the RFP, as Santiago had mentioned, we worked with SLAM Collaborative in the establishment of the specifications for the facility. The respondents to the RFP were not restricted as far as the type of facility they were going to come back with from a proposal standpoint.
Okay.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody could have responded with a pre-engineered building. They didn't. The 3 responses that we received were all under a standard normal construction type makeup. To maybe just speak on a couple of the prior comments of conversation, 2 of the 3 respondents, the pricing were relatively close in nature. As Santiago mentioned, J.A. Rosa was the lowest, but they were not the only one that we had further discussions with. At the end of the day, we concluded with the recommendation to go forward with J.A. Rosa, and then further went through the value engineering process to see where there would be that additional opportunity to reduce some of the costs and really essentially get a better bang for the buck that's going to be invested. The third other respondent to the RFP was significantly higher from a cost standpoint, and presented a model that was really far greater than what we saw as a purposeful fit for a municipal stadium at the end of the day. As far as the questions as it relates to what maybe is driving up some of the costs, this is a municipal project, and there's the very real possibility of obtaining state funding with that. Towards this project. With that comes some requirements, be it prevailing wage rates, be it some of the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunity requirements, and certainly some of our local requirements that are applied to these type projects when they're over $500,000. So from my area of knowledge, I would just throw that into the equation of some of the components that may have driven up the cost.
Okay. Is someone able to answer that question concerning the savings for the design build project? Would that still apply to a pre-engineered? I don't think anyone answered that.
It would absolutely have applied from the standpoint that this RFP was purposely put out as a design build package combination, with the end objective to be at a point where we had a final contract amount that ultimately would be in the form of a guaranteed maximum price. As Santiago mentioned, there is a contingency on this project that's provided for, but that's an owner-controlled contingency. If there's something throughout this process that we feel is worth incorporating into the project based on how it proceeds, we have a little bit of money to work with in that contingency, as well as some allowance options to see how things play out, so that, again, we have a little bit of room to work with in the overall total contract. But as it stands today, our objective and expectation is that this project will be brought in on time and under budget in accordance with that guaranteed maximum price.
Thank you. I understand and recognize the need for this facility at Municipal Stadium. It's definitely lacking. I have a problem with the expense. I would love to see a proposal with a pre-engineered facility, what the cost would be comparable to what we're looking at here. Until I see that, I won't be able to support this. Thank you.
Further questions? Alderman DiGiovancarlo.
Where was the 70,000 saved? I didn't understand you, sir, when you said the 70,000 was saved through.
Sure. The proposal from J.A. Rosa came at $3.8 million to begin with. So through a value engineer process, we negotiated and we made certain changes to reduce the price. That's where the $70,000 came in that value engineering process.
Are we able to go back one more time and negotiate again with them, or is this something that we can consider? This is the set in stone price for us?
You want to speak on that, Mike?
We had multiple sessions with them, with the consultant that we utilized, Kemp from SLAM Collaborative. We went in depth with all the components of this project, with our discussions with J.A. Rosa. Certainly our objective was to get this down as low as we thought it feasibly could be brought down to. Do I think there's an opportunity for additional savings? I would say no at this point, unless we're willing to compromise on some of the features that are incorporated into the project for the facility.
Okay. So, and the project manager at risk is this company, am I correct? Is this a project manager at risk run?
It's essentially, yes, a construction manager at risk in that there's a guaranteed maximum price that they are to provide this facility on time and in accordance with the guaranteed price. And if either of those two things are not met, there's liquidating damages from a completion standpoint, and as far as any additional cost beyond what is provided for in the scope, I'm sorry, I'm saying that backwards. The scope is specifically spelled out in this contract, and that's the deliverable for that amount of money. If the construction company, J.A. Rose, is unable to do that, that risk and additional cost is borne by them.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Further questions? Hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then the next item on the agenda would be public speaking. Anyone who wishes to address the board, please sign up again with our city sheriff, Mr. Conway. Please again state your name and address for the record, and there is a 5-minute limit. I'll give you a 1-minute heads up. Mr. Sheriff?
First speaker tonight from 11 Steuben Street, Lawrence DePillo.
Lawrence DePillo, 11 Steuben Street. Item 7, a streetscape. Just interestingly enough, another $4 million project. And what is it saying? It's saying trenches from underground utility installations have been patched with asphalt, creating an inconsistent surface. This is for East Main Street, which we're now going to dig up. And I tend to agree with that. I guess the question is, why did City of Waterbury let the utilities get away with simply throwing asphalt where the brick needed to be replaced? Again, in Waterbury, it's good enough. It's not that it's done right. It's not we had bricks. They needed to come up for the utilities and then put the bricks down. Nah, throw asphalt, good enough. So now we got to spend $4 million to redo the road. And the roadway will be resurfaced with new bituminous concrete pavement, asphalt. So East Main Street will now be all asphalt. There won't be any more red brick road. It's talking about dedicated bus parking lane will be added to the westbound side and dedicated car parking line to the other eastbound side. Well, my question is, what happened to the bus hub? We're going to spend $4 million to take up the brick and fix East Main Street. Last I knew, we had at least 2 groundbreaking ceremonies for the bus hub on North Main Street, where the buses were supposed to be. And then we wouldn't need a bus parking lane on East Main Street. So I guess that just fell off the earth, and instead of using $4 million and maybe building the bus hub that everybody was promised with 2 groundbreaking ceremonies, instead we're going to do East Main Street. So much for that project. Another $4 million. It's only funny money, folks. And then we have another hire in the mayor's office. Isn't that great? And let's see. So we're bringing in, according to the newspaper, the mayor hires a local Democrat operative for $30,000 a year to watch over the $150 million mixed master rehabilitation. What's he going to do? Stand out there in a hard hat? Is he going to direct the operations of the construction company? I mean, aren't they supposed to hire the people to manage the mix master while the construction's going on? And you know, last I knew, this board had some jurisdiction over who gets hired, meaning the mayor is supposed to give you a job description, the hours going to be worked, and what the job is going to entail. Did any of you aldermen get that from the mayor? I doubt it. But don't worry, he's already picked the guy and he's already hired him, he's already going to pay him $30,000. So what you think on this board doesn't matter. And the fact that you're sitting there and don't ask this question shows me that a number of you are clueless to what your job is. Maybe while you're asking the mayor why to hire, what he's going to be doing, and showing you a job description and hours to be worked, maybe sent you people here, sent a letter to the DEEP regarding F&G, you'd like to follow up on that. And maybe ask the state of Connecticut, what's happening? Going to be granted a permit or not? Thrown out, going to start from scratch? I'm sure the public would love to know. And the fact that you joined in that might be nice to send a letter and find out what's going on. Also, Watertown to pay up, maybe. As of July 1st, Watertown's being billed $2.77, not $1.33 for water, and $2.42, not 88 cents for the sewer. However, they said they're going to have a one-on-one meeting with the mayor, cry on his shoulder, and hopefully get a major discount. Is the mayor here tonight to report about his meeting? Is anybody here tonight to report about the meeting? Or is Watertown going to pay the bill? Or is the mayor going to give them yet another 50% discount like he did with the last 5-year contract? No? Don't know? I doubt you do know. And so we'll see whether or not anybody's going to pay any bills. And then we have the revelation that Watertown and Naugatuck are going to split the taxes from the industrial park. My question is,
1 minute, Mr.
that is the Gilmartin Community Club area. Are there any intentions of having a public hearing? Are there any intentions of bringing the community club or the community in on this deal, and what the exits are going to be off this industrial park? And I know they don't have long to go. So my last question is, if you were paying attention earlier in the year, there was an article in the paper that Duggan School construction was going to be brought to trial in 2018. There's 2 months left. Has the trial date been sent, or is this just more fodder for the administration, something else to drop through the cracks and be forgotten about? And by the way, we had a $300,000 surplus. $2.3 million that was given to Waterbury to reduce the car taxes from 45 to 37 mils.
That's
The
time,
mayor,
Mr. DiPillo.
he took it. That was a $2 million loss to the city in revenue this year. Did we get the money? You might want to ask.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Next speaker from 112 Concord Street, Thomas Pelletier.
Thomas Pelletier, 112 Concord Street. Couple things on the agenda here. Item number 8 is to Wendell Cross. I would ask that this board pass it. We need to get that school going. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something from the state to get it going. As far as the paving and milling, I find it quite alarming that people come up here and say, I mean, I understand it's freedom of speech and they make comments and stuff, but I gotta say we have one of the best department heads in Public Works. Quite frankly, he works with Eversource and all these utilities Of course, we're not going to start milling or paving until they get the utilities fixed. I mean, that's just mind-boggling that somebody would make that statement. As far as the item number 11 about the municipal stadium, I would hope that you guys would pass this. You know, I know that there's been some talk here so far about the portable buildings. I think that if that was something feasible, these people that are in the field would have proposed it. Quite frankly, to say that, you know, that this whole process has, you know, not been open to any discussions. I mean, there's been people on both sides of the aisle that have been on this board. You know, I understand people have fears about costs, but, you know, we heard about the cost savings that are in this. My own personal opinion, if you're going to build something, you got to build it right. And to put a portable building that we're going to end up, like I said, 40, 50 years from now, tearing it down and having to rebuild it, this doesn't seem right. And if we're going to be putting a Hall of Fame in there, I think it's a disservice to a lot of the people that put Waterbury on the map to build a portable facility that's going to end up having to come down in the long term. So I know you guys have a lot on the agenda tonight. And also just one of the comments that was made about the mayor, what's he going to be out there with a hard hat? There's not been a single project that this mayor has been on the forefront of making sure it got done. You see it with Howland Hughes, you see it with the Brown Building, working with these developers, working with the state legislature and everywhere else. There is not a single thing that is done in this city without him knowing about it, without him asking questions on an everyday basis where these projects are. I can tell you the few times I've stopped by to say hello to him at his office, I can't tell you how much paperwork is piled on that desk every day. So to come here and say that the mayor has no idea what's going on, or his staff, you know, I don't know what we could do to stop this rhetoric, but it's got to stop. So I hope that you guys pass these things, and you know, especially on item number 11, let's not let the public down by not getting it done. Thank you.
That's the last speaker tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. With that, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the regular meeting of Monday, September 24th, 2018. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on Monday, September 24, 2018. So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Brunelli, seconded by Alderman Napoli. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Any other changes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. With that, we will recess into our committees. We'll start this evening with the Intergovernmental Committee and then go to the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Oh, you got the letter from John Woman looking interesting.
Yes.
She just, did that just come over here? Huh? Did I? I told her you should see those. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to call into order the Intergovernmental Committee scheduled for October 9th, 2018. Our first item on the agenda is item number 2. Your Intergovernmental Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves a salary range adjustment for the following positions: fire chief from the current $110,000 to $130,000 to $110,000 to a maximum of $150,000. Police chief from the current $110,000 to $130,000 to $110,000 to a maximum of $150,000. And assistant corporation counsel from the current $70,000 to $90,000 to $100,000 to a maximum of $130,000. This was submitted by Mr. Morgan, Director of Human Resources. Alderman,
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 2, which has been seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Alderman Caballo.
They're comparing them to Bridgeport, Hartford, New Haven, and
Give me, Alderman Caballo, give me a second. Can someone from Corporation Council, please? Someone from the administration be able to answer these questions? Thank you.
I'll do my best.
for all three positions, they're actually comparing them to Bridgeport, Hartford, and New Haven. New Haven, their taxes went up, and Hartford's bankrupt, and Bridgeport's Fairfield County. How is that comparable to Waterbury?
So we are the 5th largest city. We go by the population, we go by budget, and we go by comparable of cities. So they are comparables of salaries, and as you can see, the attachments have the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, which has done a search of the other comparable positions. So those are generally considered comparable as to the position.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on item number 2? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 2, motion for item number 2 passes. Next item on the agenda, item number 3, your intergovernmental committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves the commitment to fund letter for the Lakewood Road Sidewalk Construction Project in the amount of $1,962,200 from the Connecticut Department of Transportation as submitted by Paul Belagamba, City Engineer.
Motion to approve item 3.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 3, which has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, item number 4, your intergovernmental committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves a construction contract with Tilcon, Connecticut Incorporated in the amount of $2,699,401 for the 2018 milling and paving of city roads as submitted by Paul Belagamba, City Engineer.
Motion to approve item number 4.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 4, which has been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Napoli.
Thank you. Do you by any chance happen to have a copy of which streets are going to be addressed on you right now?
Yes, I do. I have copies available. They were not, unfortunately, they were not included with the package that went to the Board of Aldermen.
No, that's fine.
But-
Is there any way the board members can get them?
Yes. I have-
Thank you.
Yeah. Steve.
Further discussion? Alderman Napoli.
Just really quick, the process on how you determine which streets get on this list, is there engineers who go out and assess all the major streets in Waterbury, and then just there's a formula that they use or some kind of rubric to analyze which streets are worse than others? Is that how this works?
Yes, we go out and inspect the streets. We work off the previous year's list for streets that we haven't done. We put those at the top of the list. We go out, we inspect the streets. We also put out on the city's website and public notice for any input from the public of streets they think need to be paved, and we assess those streets also.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
As a follow-up question to that, I know there was a huge effort on behalf of the city to actually acquire input from the residents. Did that in fact take place?
David Simpson, Director of Public Works.
Go ahead, sir.
First, I'll answer that question and maybe expand on how we develop a list. At any given time, the city has a list that would put a value to it that's a 5 to 7 year paving list. It is reevaluated each and every year to see what streets need to be paved. In addition to that, we put an article in the newspaper. We put it on the city's website, and this year, a little bit differently than just calling the Citizen Service Center of Public Works, we developed a email address called paving@waterburyct.org. So we received 103 requests. About 50% of those were on our current paving list that's out there. The other ones will be added to consideration for future paving, whether it will be this year or next year. So we do maintain about a 5 to 7 year list at all times that is continually worked on.
Thank you. Further discussion, Alderman Brunelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, Dave. When is that going to start, the paving?
The paving will start as soon as feasibly possible after the execution of the contract. Could be as early within the next week to 10 days.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Alderwoman Martinez-McCarthy.
My question is there like a time limit for each street when it's going to be paved, between what time and the time?
So as the process moves forward in the next few weeks, the entire list will be publicized. Then we will put on the website and on the in the newspaper the timetable for which streets are next. There's a lot of things that are dependent on weather dependent, not necessarily equipment. The contractor is committed to, we've already had a conversation with him, committed to come in, start the process, continue the process until it's completed. And that includes the milling, the paving, and the installation of any ADA accessible ramps that need to be included as part of this program.
Okay, now is this information, is it going to be available in multiple languages to accommodate everyone in the city so everyone knows?
So thank you. Before this point, I didn't have the answer. Now I will make sure it's available.
Okay.
And then we post it in advance of going to the streets. We put it on the cars parked in the area. We get it out to the neighborhoods as best as we can.
Okay.
But the multiple languages is very helpful. Not to add on, our recycling coordinator just produced some videos, and he said, "Oh, Dave, we really need 3 languages. We need English, Spanish, and Albanian."
Yeah,
So,
we need to accommodate the city.
very good point. I'll make sure staff gets that done.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Further discussion on item number 4. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Belagamba, and thank you, Mr. Simpson. Next item, item number 6. Your intergovernmental committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves an intergovernmental agreement between 41 municipalities to provide workshops and opportunities in the education and training of unemployed and underemployed individuals in the workforce development area to assist those persons in obtaining employment. Term to begin June 1st, 2019, and shall automatically renew every 3 years. As submitted by Catherine N. Awad, Executive Director of the Northwest Regional Workforce Board.
Motion to approve item number 6.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 6, which has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7. Your intergovernmental committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves a project authorization letter for the East Main Street streetscape scope. 100% of the funding will be provided by the State of Connecticut Bond Commission. An estimate cost of the project is $4 million. Submitted by James Nardozzi, Interim CEO, WDC.
Motion to approve item number 7.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 7, which has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item number 8. Your intergovernmental committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approves a project authorization letter for the Wendell Cross Elementary School construction project as submitted by Santiago Bolano, Civil Engineer, Project Manager, WDC.
Motion to approve item number 8.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item number 8, which has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Item number 5, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve refunds for the following: Keith Hudson, 82 Sandy Ave, overcharge for sewer in the amount of $1,141.13. Patricia Marriott, 554 Country Club Road, overpayment in the amount of $892.12, submitted by Michael J. Dalton.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve budget transfers within the Capital Improvement Fund for year 2019, the amount of $595,500 as submitted by Sarah R. Gary, Policy and Budget Management Specialist, Office of Budget Control.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve the design and build contract with J.A. Rosa Construction, LLC, for municipal stadium locker room and restroom facilities in the amount of $3,965,791, as submitted by Michael LeBlanc, Director of Finance.
A motion to approve, motion to table item number 11.
Second.
We have a motion to table item 11 and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 11 is tabled. Item number 12, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve employee defined contribution saving plans provider services agreement with Lincoln Retirement Services Company, LLC, as submitted by Michael LeBlanc, Director of Finance.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Standing, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve and authorize the Director of Finance to make refunds to taxpayers representing overpayments of tax bills in the amount of $11,304.81, submitted by Revenue Collection Manager Frank A. Caruso.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. That concludes the Finance Committee for the evening. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
We are adjourned.
Okay, with that, we'll return to the regular order of business. The following items are on the consent calendar. Item 1 is receive and place on file. Item 2 is on consent to approve. Salary range adjustments as follows: the fire chief from the current $110,000 to $130,000 range to be increased to $110,000 to $150,000. The police chief to be changed from the current $110,000 through $130,000 range to a range of $110,000 to $150,000. And the Assistant Corporation Counsel to be changed from the current $70,000 to $90,000 up to $100,000 through $130,000. Item number 3 is on consent to approve a commitment to fund letter for Lakewood Road Sidewalk Construction Project in the amount of $1,962,200 from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Item number 4 is on consent to approve a contract with Tilcon Connecticut Incorporated in the amount of $2,699,401 for the 2018 milling and paving of city roads. Item number 5 is on consent to approve refunds for the following: Keith Hudson, 82 Sand Avenue, overcharge for sewer in the amount of $1,141.13, and Patricia Maroit at 554 Country Club Road, overpayment in the amount of $892.12. Item number 6 is on consent to approve an intergovernmental agreement between 41 municipalities to provide workshops and opportunities in the education and training of unemployed and underemployed individuals in the workforce development area to assist these persons in obtaining employment, term to begin June 1, 2019, and shall automatically renew every 3 years. Item 7 is on consent to approve a project authorization letter for the East Main Street streetscape scope, 100% of the funding to be provided by a State of Connecticut Bond Commission, an estimated cost of the project, $4 million. Item number 8 is on consent to approve a project authorization letter for the Wendell Cross Elementary School construction project. Item number 9 is on consent to approve budget transfers within the Capital Improvement Fund for fiscal year 19 in the amount of $595,500. Item 10 is receive and place on file. Item 11 was tabled in the committee. Item 12 is on consent to approve an employee-defined contribution savings plan, the provider services agreement with Lincoln Retirement Services Company, LLC. Is there a motion with respect to the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar as read.
Motion having been made by Alderman Brunelli and seconded by Alderman Lopez, are there any additions or deletions to the consent calendar? Hearing none, a yes vote will be to approve, a no vote to disapprove. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. The consent calendar is approved as read. With respect to standing committees, the chair would recognize Alderman DiGio Von Carlo as chair of the Finance Committee.
Mr. President, your Finance Committee respectfully recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve and authorize the Director of Finance to make refunds to taxpayers representing overpayments of a tax bill in the amount of $11,304.81, submitted by Revenue Collection Manager Frank A. Caruso.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Alderman Martinez McCarthy and seconded by Alderman Kula. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. The refunds are approved. Is there anything else for the good of the order? With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Alderman Brunelli?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made, seconded by Alderman Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you very much.